With hundreds of VPNs on the market, choosing one in 2025 is overwhelming. I spent literally months testing dozens of VPNs to find the definitive winner for 2025. And do not buy a VPN until you've seen this video, because frankly, most of them are pretty terrible. And I'm looking at you, Hotspot Shield. Okay, for my time-pressed viewers out there, I'm going to tell you right now that NordVPN is the overall winner in 2025. But if you want to hear why it won, please stick around. Plus, I'll show you why some of the other VPNs might actually be better for your specific needs. And if any of the 5 services I'll cover today strike your fancy, you can find discounted links in the description box below. And the best thing is, we keep these links always up to date. So no matter when you see the video, no matter when you click the link, you can make sure that you'll always get the best deal for each of the VPN services that we mention here in this video. Here's what nobody tells you. The best VPN depends entirely on what you're trying to do. Like if you're streaming Netflix from, 5, 6 different countries while torrenting on unlimited devices, Surfshark might be really the best fit for you. However, if you're like a privacy purist who maybe don't trust anyone, ProtonVPN would be my personal choice. Now, I can confidently provide these rankings as I tested each VPN across multiple categories to figure out which one deserves your money. Now we're talking general VPN features, speed tests using WireGuard, streaming unblocking across all major streaming services, security audits and privacy policy reviews, value for money, and actual ease of use, because who wants to use a VPN that is terrible and annoying to use? Well, no one. And if rankings like these help you, consider hitting that subscribe button so you'll continue to stay informed and stay safe online, right? I've been reviewing VPN since 2014, so that's over 10 years now, and I've got a thing or two to say about all of these providers. All right, let's get into these rankings right now. Coming in at number 5 is PrivadoVPN, and Privado markets itself as a budget-friendly option with a free tier that gives you 10 gigabytes of data per month. And in fact, it is my number 1 choice if you really need a free VPN, if you cannot shell out some money to get protected online. The feature set is, well, basic compared to the competition. There's no multi-hop routing. We don't have dedicated streaming servers. There are no dedicated or advanced privacy tools. It essentially covers the fundamentals well, but nothing more. You do, however, get the standard kill switch and 10 simultaneous connections, although free users are limited to 1 connection at a time. And other features include split tunneling and even an ad blocker. So that's pretty much what you would expect from a VPN, right? And Privado can unblock major streaming services, and it is one of the best VPNs for IPTV. And yes, Privado can unblock Netflix, as well as Prime Video, as well as HBO, Hulu, Disney Plus, and BBC iPlayer, basically all the important platforms. During my testing, it loaded streams without issues, and I didn't have any problems with watching what I wanted. And I have subscriptions to all of these services to make sure the VPNs are compatible and you can actually access all the content that you want. Overall, Privado has good speeds, but I did notice that geographical distance, made things slower. On nearby servers, I found the download speeds average around 80% of my unprotected speeds, while uploads dipped to about 40%. Now, as I mentioned, the further away my tests got, the worse the performance. It is kind of what you expect because of the latency, but still it is noticeable. On distant servers, I noticed a 50% drop in my speed on average. Well, surfing the internet was fine, but when I tried to play online games, there was a noticeable lag as Privado shot my latency up about to 300 milliseconds or something like that, which is not Great. So we're doing here at CloudWords constant speed tests of all the major VPN providers, and we've written a dedicated software who does VPN speed testing basically 24/7. So we're averaging out all these speed test results over the past years or so, and you can find all these charts in the link in the description box below, so you can really dig into the numbers if speed is really what you're looking for. And you can really see that we're not just copying the marketing material of each of these VPNs. We do our own testing here at CloudWords. Privado claims a no-lock policy, and it uses AES 256-bit encryption with WireGuard. Now, I could choose between 3 protocols. OpenVPN here, WireGuard, and IKE v2, which is great depending on whether I wanted faster speeds or whether I wanted a secure connection if I'm doing some banking stuff, for example, and I don't care that much about how fast it connects, but rather it has to be super secure because I'm passing on very private information. They are based in Switzerland, which has very strong privacy laws, and for me, that's a point in their favor, and I did not notice any red flags in their privacy policy, and that's because it is, well, incredibly short. And to be honest, a little more detail would probably go a long way in the privacy policy. And Privado hasn't had any independent audits done. The VPN industry has matured to where, like, regular third-party audits are, you could say, pretty standard. Services that skip this step raise questions about what they might be hiding or what they might not want other third-party providers to find. But basically that's up to you to decide if it's a red flag or not. The free tier provides value with 10 GB of monthly high-speed data. It's really perfect if you need protection for light browsing or the occasional streaming session in the hotel. You can still use the VPN after the 10 GB are essentially spent, but speeds become much, 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 much slower. If 10 GB isn't enough, the paid plans are competitively priced. All of them include servers in 67 cities. You get 10 simultaneous connections as well as unlimited devices and data. The best option is the 24 months for $1.11 per month at the time of this video. You also get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so feel free to just test it out if you're curious to see if really it's the VPN for your needs. PrivadoVPN might work fine for, like, as I said, basic needs, or maybe as a free streaming VPN in the short term. But for anything serious, and if you frequently change locations and get to different streaming services, then maybe it's not the best option on this list. But it gives you good value for money and also peace of mind. ProtonVPN lands on my list on number 4. And I know there are some privacy advocates who will strongly disagree with this ranking, and please feel free to add a comment below so we can get the discussion going, right? It's not a one-way street here with me making videos. I also like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And ProtonVPN has pretty passionate fans, and I think after using it for a while, it's for good reason. It's made by the Proton Mail team, and they've built an entire business on privacy. But let me show you why it's in 4th place despite its strength. Privado gives you 10 simultaneous connections and matches basically NordVPN. You get a kill switch. You get split tunneling, you get ad blocking through NetShield DNS filtering, you get something called multi-hop servers, and Onion over VPN support. The feature set is comprehensive and privacy-focused, and what sets ProtonVPN apart is its secure core routing, which bounces your connections through multiple privacy-friendly countries before exiting, and that's extra protection if you're worried about compromised servers. Their custom stealth protocol also helps bypass VPN blocking in restrictive countries like China, like Russia. The interface for me was pretty clean and intuitive, and during testing, setup for me was, well, perhaps the easiest of the bunch. Like everything is where you expect it to be with clear explanations for each feature. It's really like a VPN that I would recommend my grandma. And again, ProtonVPN unblocked almost every streaming platform I threw at it, including Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, HBO, BBC iPlayer, Peacock, and YouTube's geo-restricted content. That's great. So nothing in the way of watching shows that are not available in your local Netflix, or maybe even if you want to sign up to get Netflix cheaper than in the US, that is the VPN that you might want to try out. Now, here is the problem though. Disney Plus refused to cooperate even after trying multiple servers. For anyone who watches Disney content regularly, that's a deal breaker. And for example, when I'm traveling to Cyprus, Cyprus doesn't have Disney Plus, so I need a VPN to watch my shows. And well, if I can't connect, I cannot log into Disney and the service is not available to me. Every other major service worked without issues, but that is a significant gap, especially because Disney has some great unique shows. Performance is where ProtonVPN shows both strengths and weaknesses. When testing nearby servers, ProtonVPN delivered almost identical speeds to my unprotected connection, and latency increased only minimally. Connecting to a extremely distant Australian server maintained upload and download speeds, which is really impressive, but the ping shot up to 598 milliseconds. Over half a second of latency makes real-time activities like gaming or video calls pretty frustrating with a huge delay, and that makes communication difficult. I found the speeds solid for streaming and browsing, but that distance latency hurts if you need servers far from your location. Security is ProtonVPN's strongest category, and why I think it has such loyal fans, and why I'm also a fan of ProtonVPN. That's why it made it to this list. They offer OpenVPN, WireGuard, and their custom stealth protocol. And like Privado, Proton is also based in Switzerland, which has some of the strongest privacy laws in the world and isn't part of any intelligence sharing agreements. Their no-logs policy has been independently audited and verified. The secure core feature routes traffic through privacy-friendly countries like Switzerland, Iceland, and Sweden before exiting. Even if an exit server is compromised, your real IP remains hidden. And that's serious protection for serious privacy nerds. ProtonVPN costs a bit more than some competitors in this video. You're essentially paying a premium for Swiss infrastructure and that extra layer of privacy protection. The 24-month option will run you $2.99 per month. And again, the longer you commit to a VPN, the lower the monthly bill is going to get. Yes, it's a two-year contract, but the savings are significant for any of the VPN that you find here in this video. For users who need maximum privacy and trust the Swiss jurisdiction over others, that premium, in my book, is justified. Okay, so the 30-day money-back guarantee is really hassle-free, but you'll pay more per month than you would for services that match or exceed its performance in other categories. There's also a free version available, but it doesn't allow for manual server selection and limits you to just 5 countries, I think, making it a poor choice if you need to choose where to connect from, for example, for streaming. ProtonVPN excels at privacy and security, and if that's your absolute top priority, it might be your personal number one. Leave me a comment below and tell me whether ProtonVPN is for you and whether privacy is your main focus. All right, let's jump to a provider that probably every one of you know, but still, if you make a top 5 about VPNs, it has to be on the list. And this is ExpressVPN, which takes the number 3 spot. And I know this ranking will surprise people. ExpressVPN has been the industry favorite for years. It has won countless awards, and it's basically sponsoring half the internet, right? And also, we at CloudWords have recommended ExpressVPN for the longest time on number 1. So why on earth is it only 3rd in this ranking? Well, that's why I test everything myself. ExpressVPN gives you 10 simultaneous connections as well as a kill switch, gives you split tunneling, so far so good, ad blocking, and DNS leak protection. They include ExpressVPN keys, a built-in password manager, which is a nice bonus, and I also got a free eSIM with 5 days of unlimited data, useful for my international travel. For example, if I go to Dubai, I don't have to buy a SIM card. I just pop in the 5 days of eSIM and I'm ready to work or ready to do whatever I need on the internet. Additionally, router support lets you protect devices that don't support VPNs natively. The feature set covers the essentials well, but doesn't go pretty much beyond the basics. There is no multi-hop routing. There's no advanced privacy tools like Secure Core or even MeshNet. Well, MeshNet is probably not going to be available any longer, but we'll see how that's going to play out in the future. Honestly, it's pretty competent, but ExpressVPN doesn't seem very innovative for me in terms of core features. ExpressVPN has been in this game since 2009, so quite the track record, and streaming is where it traditionally shines. And during testing, for me, it unblocked Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Max, Disney Plus, and BBC iPlayer, and the reliability and consistency matter a lot. I was particularly impressed with BBC iPlayer as it worked flawlessly, while most other VPNs require some server switching to make that one work. And if streaming is your primary use case, ExpressVPN delivers that reliability. Now, it's not the fastest option, but it gets you through all of the geo blocks very, very consistently. And here's where ExpressVPN falls short compared to the competition. Testing it with nearby servers, ExpressVPN suffered an 8% speed loss with latency almost tripling. And on more distant servers, speeds drop roughly 30% with up to 7 times more latency than my unprotected connection. And these speeds work fine for streaming and browsing, but if you have a top list, well, they're not exactly impressive, right? Okay, we have to talk about the Lightway protocol, their proprietary alternative, let's say, to WireGuard. It performs adequately, in my opinion, but it doesn't match WireGuard's efficiency in practice. It's supposed to be faster and, well, more battery efficient, but that was not my experience during testing at all. That said, ExpressVPN also offers the standard WireGuard protocol as well as OpenVPN, ICAP v2, L2TP, and also PPTP. ExpressVPN in the encryption space is pretty solid. It uses AES 256-bit encryption and has RAM-only servers across 105 countries as of the publishing of this video. They've been, and that's very important, independently audited by multiple firms, including PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, so there is some backing behind their claims. And Lightway is a big part of its security, but as I mentioned, it's unfortunately not as fast a connection as I would like it to be. I did appreciate that the privacy policy is solid and clearly written, even if it's a bit long, but as ExpressVPN is based in the British Virgin Islands, I don't have to worry about it being part of any intelligence sharing agreements, and that's really good for privacy. And their no-logs policy has been verified through, plenty of audits. Okay, we have to talk about pricing, because pricing is ExpressVPN's biggest problem. It's significantly more expensive than comparable services. You're paying premium prices for performance that's merely good and not exceptional. Even the 2-year plan will cost you roughly $5 per month. And also, they're switching pricing quite a bit. I mean, we, as a partner, we're getting emails quite often about, okay, we're changing this tier, we're changing that pricing. So they constantly switch up the pricing. If you want to test ExpressVPN, make sure to click on the links in one of the in our descriptions so you get the best deal that's currently available for ExpressVPN, even if the pricing may be a little bit confusing. And during the months of my testing, I kept asking myself, well, what am my viewers actually getting for this extra cost? And the answer is, Well, probably you get brand reliability and track record, right? ExpressVPN has been around for 16 years, 16, without any major scandals, and trust has some value, in my opinion. For example, when we review cloud storage services on my other channel, which you can go ahead and subscribe if you're into cloud storage services, it's a huge plus if they've been around for 10 plus years, because we know if they offer lifetime plans, they're probably going to be around for another 10 years because they've proven the business model. And same is true for ExpressVPN. So trust has this value, but as I said before, it comes at a price. And like many others, you can try ExpressVPN risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee, but you're still paying more per month than competitors who offer better speeds, more features, and probably equivalent security. So it's solid, it's reliable, and will serve most of you guys well. And I especially like the streaming reliability, right? Because I stream a lot. I watch a lot of movies. So I need good streaming VPNs, and I don't want to think about which server am I going to connect to. Does it work? Does it not work? I just want it to work, period. So if you value brand recognition and you don't mind to pay like a little bit of a premium for this established trust, go for ExpressVPN. I mean, you can't do much wrong with it because it checks most of the boxes, right? But for everyone else, well, there's better value that exists higher on this list. So keep watching this video to make sure to really cover all your bases before you make the final decision. Surfshark earns the number 2 spot, and like picking between this and NordVPN was genuinely difficult. Now, in some categories, it's actually the best option here. Let me explain why it came so close and what held it back. Features is where Surfshark demolishes the competition. Every other VPN in this lineup caps you at 10 simultaneous connections, and Surfshark says, well, I don't care. Simply connect with everything you own with unlimited devices. So great, right? You get a kill switch with 2 modes: disconnect only when VPN drops by accident, or stay disconnected if the VPN is interrupted for any reason. Split tunneling, which they call bypasser, works at both app and URL level, though the app selection interface is a little bit limited. Surfshark, though, doesn't really stop there. We have multi-hop routing that lets me create custom server pairs. So while the rotating IP changes my IP address automatically without disconnecting, and that's really great. So there are static IP options available in 6 countries if you are dependent on your IP remaining static. And with an alternative email and ID generator, I can create convincing fake identities for any signups that come through my way. And now we're getting to the fun part. Surfshark unblocked Max, BBC iPlayer, Peacock, Paramount Plus, and YouTube's geo-restricted content. Now, problems? Again, Disney Plus wouldn't even load the site with the VPN active. Hulu stopped at the login verification code. Now, those are like 2 major streaming services with issues that you need to keep in mind when you're using them for your streaming purposes. But for a VPN that heavily markets itself for streaming, having 2 major platforms is a big fail and a disappointment in my book. Everything else worked flawlessly, but those gaps matter if you are a Disney or Hulu subscriber. Okay, we need to look at speed and performance, which is a little bit complicated because Surfshark showed both the best and most inconsistent results. Testing on nearby servers, I got some very varied results. At its best, Surfshark only reduced my speeds by about roughly 5%, and latency was negligible. And on distant servers, speeds went down by about 15%, and the latency went up to around 150 milliseconds. And that's still very fast and completely usable for all, if not most, activities. But I do have a critical caveat. When I was testing nearby servers, things were inconsistent, to say the least. The results I gave you before were my best results. But most of the time, I experience an enormous drop in speed, and that's a huge red flag. Speed consistency across the server network matters a lot, and some servers are fantastic and others are really terrible. Okay, protocols. Surfshark offers OpenVPN, WireGuard, IKE v2 protocols, and they have something called RAM-only servers across 100 countries. And they've been audited by Deloitte for their no-logs claims in 2023 and 2025, and by Securing for security in 2025. Those are all good signs if you want to sign up for them. However, they're based in the Netherlands, which is part of the Nine Eyes intelligence allegiance. So that's not ideal for privacy, though their audited no-logs policy addresses that concern. Here's the big security failure. During our testing, the Clean Web feature caught 89 out of 136 ads, but completely failed every malware protection test. Every single malicious test site loaded without any warning. Zero protection. And, well, it's not good, obviously. So if you're relying on that malware blocking feature for safety, you're not actually protected. And that's a significant security gap that really shouldn't exist in a premium VPN. Surfshark pricing, which is, to be honest, it's competitive. Usually it's positioned between budget options and the premium services. And through my link in the description, you can get Surfshark for only $1.99 per month as of the release of this video. And given the unlimited connections, it offers outstanding value for household or users with many devices. So go check that out and click the link below. The 30-day money-back guarantee is the easiest I tested. Open live chat, mention refund, get a link, click a few buttons, and you're basically done. The refund is approved within hours, and this is exactly how the process should work, in my opinion. So if you have a large household with tons of devices, or if you want to share a subscription with a family, Surfshark might actually be your personal number one. And I get it. Some nerds will now come and say, hey, I can install XYZ VPN on my router and can use it with unlimited connection. Yes. I completely agree. I completely agree to that. However, not everyone is technical. Not everyone wants to install a VPN on a router, right? So that's why I do appreciate the feature that I just can connect any device and use it on as many devices as I want without having to think about it, how to install it on a particular router. So for the average user who wants the most reliable package, well, there is one service I think that edges us out. And this is what we're going to cover in the final section of this video. What is the best VPN in 2025? Well, NordVPN is the best overall VPN in 2025. And after months of testing countless services, NordVPN strikes, for me, the best balance between features, streaming, speed, security, and value. It's not the absolute best at everything, but it has no major weaknesses. NordVPN gives you 10 simultaneous connections, which is enough for most households, and the kill switch offers 3 modes: internet kill switch at system level, internet kill switch at application level, and an app kill switch that force closes specific applications when the VPN disconnects. And that third option is unique and useful. So split tunneling worked flawlessly when I tested it, as did threat protection. It includes ad blocking that caught 99 out of 135 ads, which was better than Surfshark. And I also like that multi-hop routing is available through pre-configured routes. You can't create custom pairs like Surfshark, but the available options cover most of your needs. There's Onion over VPN, which I tested successfully. Peer-to-peer servers optimized torrenting across the entire network. Now, in my last round of testing, I was able to unblock all major streaming platforms. BBC iPlayer, YouTube, Netflix, Disney+, Amazon Prime, Hulu, HBO, and other major streaming services. When one of them updates their VPN detection, you're rarely locked out for long. And The reliability matters more than occasionally being detected, in my opinion. ExpressVPN and NordVPN both handle streaming extremely well, but NordVPN does it at faster speeds and also, well, lower prices. What can I say? Sometimes I'm cheap. Performance is where NordVPN really shines, and testing on nearby servers, NordVPN delivered almost identical speeds compared to the baseline, dropping less than 4% with latency only minimally increasing. You won't notice that difference in real-world use, right? And these speeds using WireGuard, which NordVPN calls Nord Links, put it ahead of ExpressVPN and ProtonVPN. So Surfshark's best servers might match it, but NordVPN maintains the speed more consistently across its network. Download speeds and latency remain strong on more distant servers, but upload speeds unfortunately took a major hit. And that means if you are using NordVPN while making video calls or uploading files, you'll basically have to stick with a nearby server, which is a little bit of a restriction there. NordVPN offers the most comprehensive protocol selection. OpenVPN, WireGuard, IKEV2, their custom NordLinks protocol, and NordWhisper for bypassing VPN blocks in restrictive countries. So that gives you options depending on your needs. And they have RAM-only servers across 127 countries and territories, the largest network in this comparison. Now, more servers mean less crowding and more options for finding fast connections near you. NordVPN was audited 5 times by Deloitte, most recently in 2024, and its no-logs policy has been verified repeatedly by independent third parties. They're based in Panama, which isn't part of any intelligence sharing agreements and has implemented strong data protection laws modeled on Europe's GDPR in recent years. All right, pricing. NordVPN's pricing sits in the, I would say, competitive middle ground. It's not the cheapest option, but it's also not the most expensive. You're getting the largest server network, which is great, the most comprehensive feature set, and proven security with regular security audits. A 2-year plan will cost you just over $3 per month. And when you click on the link in the description box below, there's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is hassle-free. Auto-renewal is enabled by default, which is kind of annoying, so you got to know about that, but you can disable it easily within the app. The refund button is right there in the billing settings with no need to contact support, and that makes it super easy to cancel. And when you compare price to features, speed, and reliability, NordVPN offers, in my book, excellent value. You're really paying a fair price for a premium service that actually delivers on its promises. NordVPN wins because it excels across all 5 categories without any deal-breaking weaknesses. It's fast, it's secure, it's feature-rich, and yeah, it's also competitively priced. So what more can you ask, right? For most users in 2025 who want a VPN that performs well across all categories without compromising anywhere important, well, NordVPN is the clear winner. Here is your definitive ranking for 2025 with each VPN evaluated on the same 5 criteria, so you can compare them directly. I'll also leave links in the description box below so you can check out our rankings on cloudwords.net as well. And NordVPN takes the crown for the best overall package in 2025, but your personal winner might be different depending on what matters most to you. All of these services offer 30-day money-back guarantees for the paid plan. So just go ahead and test them yourself if you're uncertain. There's no risk attached to it. Your specific location, your internet speed, and use cases might yield different results than mine and our other testers that help me compile all the testing data into one cohesive review that you just watched. And just do yourself a favor. Stop browsing without protection. Pick one of these VPNs, set it up, and, well, actually use it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.